Welcome back to the first Angelo State Coaches Corner for the first time in 2 weeks. We've been away. Job requirements and other things prohibited us from doing a coaches show, but once again, here in Champions Lounge inside the Janelle Center, we're joined by Coach Chuck Waddington of Bell Volleyball. Coach, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now, two big, and I know this term's probably overused in sports, but two great gut check wins this weekend for Bell Volleyball.
Yeah, we played two teams that we lost to on the road in 5 sets, and we're starting the second half of conference right now. We need to start off on the right foot. So, it was good to see us, play hard and compete at a high level and play with a lot of intensity, in matches that really matter.
Right. It was almost like a tournament/playoff atmosphere in the Stevens Arena. Both Friday and Saturday was incredible.
Well, for us to have any postseason aspirations, we got to get it in gear. We got 10 matches left, and we want to win all 10. So those were the first two, and we got 3 more this week.
So, you came out Friday. I was curious, based on what had happened on the road trip, how the team was going to come out, and they pretty much come out. And I use this metaphor in football a lot, but they basically put the foot on the neck and just did not let them back up, and was able to take the 3-set sweep.
Yeah, we played at a pretty high level on Friday. I told my team about how much effort we put into competition, and when we put effort in on every point, it's really going to be tough to beat us. So we did a really nice job of that on Friday.
Yeah. Now Saturday, you started off strong, stumbled a little bit in the second set, and then those sets 3 and 4 were just absolute ulcer-inducing for me anyway. I was up top. I wasn't doing much because all the youngins were running the production, but I was up there. I think that's the most vocal I've been all year at Bell Volleyball.
Yeah, it was both of those sets, 3 and 4, could have gone either way. We had leads in both of them and kind of, let them slip a little bit, but kind of finished off set 3, the way we needed to, and then had a chance. We were up big in set 4. We were up by 10, and they just whittled away, and we played too many loose points, and but at the end, when we needed a swing, Bree came through for us, and I was proud of her for stepping up and doing that.
Matter of fact, when she made that kill, I walked over the control room up north, says, "When in doubt, call Brianna Sotelo."
That's right. Yeah.
So now you got to go on the road for a couple of real big. You were talking about. You go back on the road to Tarleton State.
Yep.
Going forward, what are you hoping to see? What did this weekend do for your team's psyche?
Well, it proved a point. That if we play hard, we're hard to beat, and so we have to play hard. We can't let teams outplay us, out-effort us,
Right.
And we need to do a good job of extending rallies to give ourselves chances to score. So if we can do that, I think we've got a pretty good chance.
Right. The other thing I want to touch on real quick before we let you go, the fan support this weekend was real big too. I mean, you could almost, I mentioned earlier the playoff atmosphere. It was like just a great atmosphere from the fan base itself in there.
Yeah, our fans are great. They come out. It doesn't matter what's going on the weekend, or whether other sports are in town or out of town. We get a lot of people to come out, and they're loud and they're supportive, and we love that.
Right. You want to stay up with Bell Volleyball? Tune into angelosports.com this upcoming week as they play a couple of matches on the road. They will be home again. If you want to see the days, time schedules, go to angelosports.com. Check it out. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Come on back after the break as we continue on with this edition of Coach's Corner. I'm Russ Howard from MTV Sports. Welcome back to Coach's Corner inside Champions Lounge, inside the Janelle Center. Russ Howard, Ram TV Sports, and I'm joined now by Coach Will Wagner of Ram Football. Coach, couple of tough losses against ranked opponents. I want to make sure I put that out there. Let's just talk about this past weekend. Tell me, kind of walk me through what happened there on the road.
Well, our kids played very hard and had a great effort for 4 quarters. When it came down to it, there's a couple times we just couldn't get stops on defense, and then on the other end of the ball, a couple times we just couldn't put the ball in the end zone. And so, anytime you play a great team like Commerce, you got to be able to make plays. And just in the end, they made a couple more than we did.
Right. Donovan Thompson had a big game, set the single game record for receptions with 13, but to me, while that was a big story, one of the other big stories was how Charlie distributed the ball. I think it was 10 different receivers I counted. Talk a little bit about his progress so far this season and where he's come from.
Yeah, well, Charlie's done a great job, coming in and learning the offense, coming in late this summer and being able to pick that up. But, I think it says a lot about the depth that we have at that receiver spot. For him to trust those guys and for us to be able to roll that many guys on the field and have that opportunity says a lot about our offense. And so that's something that we got to continue to do. It makes it great for us that we're not really zeroing in on one guy, and so I think it makes it tough for a defense to really concentrate on one individual.
And not to mention the experience factor that you getting a lot of the young guys in there on the field. So I know we always focus on Donovan, but there, and rightfully so, but there are other guys that have stepped up. Now let's talk a little bit about defense. I saw some of the game online, saw some of the stat feed. Obviously, it was a road game. I was here covering stuff, but it seemed like Justin Jackson and Grant Oschenbach, that linebacker duo this year, has really, in every game, has performed admirably. I mean, done a great job. So talk a little bit about their performance on the D side there.
Well, Justin, the outside linebacker, is a kid that plays from sideline to sideline, and he's involved in a lot from the passing game to the run game, being that outside linebacker position. So he does a tremendous job for us, as well as Grant Oschenbach, playing that middle linebacker spot. Grant's got a tough job. He's inside with those big kids, but our defensive line, I think, takes a lot of pressure off of Grant to be able to not allow those big guys to get up to him, and it kind of allows him more freedom to run and make plays like that.
Right. So going forward now, you're back home this weekend, homecoming. What are you hoping to see from the Rams, given that they're coming off two really tough losses like this?
Well, it all starts on Tuesday with our practice. We got to come out and have great effort and work on fixing those mistakes that we made this past Saturday. And then when Saturday comes, let's come out and play with great effort for 60 minutes. It's football game's going to have some highs and lows, and the way we react and handle those will determine the outcome. And so we got a great group of kids. We know that our kids are going to give their best effort on Saturday, and looking forward to being back home in front of our crowd.
All right. Well, you heard it from the coach himself this weekend, homecoming, Western New Mexico University here at LeGrand Stadium. You don't want to miss it. Come on out, 6 p.m. Don't forget the Ram Jam starting somewhere around between 10 and 12. Come on out. Have a good time. Coach, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks a lot, Russ.
And anytime you have any questions, go to angelosports.com. You can see updated stats, schedules, rosters, etc. Take care. We'll see you right after the break as we sit down with Coach Tom Dibburn. Welcome back to Coach's Corner. I'm joined now by track and field and cross country coach Tom Dibburn. Coach, you just completed the Lone Star Conference Championship cross country. Tell me a little bit about how the weekend went for you.
Well, I think the weekend went well for us. We beat a lot of teams that we probably shouldn't have, and we got beat by some teams that were better than us. So it was pretty expected in where we finished. We're really happy with Kelsey Warren for being all conference. She was fourth out of 75, 76 runners. So she ran excellent. Lobbin Candy on the men's side was seventh, and I think he ran against 76 other runners as well. So those two did really well, and then we had about 5 freshmen to step up and run well as well. So we're pleased with the effort overall.
So how important is it for those freshmen? You mentioned, I saw this in the story and picked up on it right away. How important is the experience they get from running in like a conference championship like this? How important is it for them going forward to have that experience?
It's very important. They start to develop expectations. And if you haven't done it, you can't have those expectations. And the experience itself and seeing the competition, because a lot of these teams we don't see very often, is big for them moving forward.
Yeah. So Lone Star Conference championships are over now. I'm having a hard time enunciating today. So where does cross country / track and field go from here? What's next up on the calendar?
Well, for the cross country team, we'll be taking a full girls team to the regional meet in 2 weeks, and we'll be taking a couple guys to run as individuals. Track's still in the swing of things right now. I mean, we're have moved to our full five-day weeks. We're in our championship season. So, I mean, we're just going all out right now.
So, We heard it from Coach Tom Dibburn. If you want to stay up to date with what's going on with track and field and cross country, go to angelosports.com. You can see the rosters, results, all the information you might want to know. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir.
Come on back after the break as we sit down with Coach Travis McCorkle of Bell Soccer. Welcome back to Coach's Corner inside Champions Lounge. I'm joined now by Coach Travis McCorkle, Bell Soccer. Coach, a couple of real big wins last week, Wednesday and Sunday. Let's talk a little bit about UTPB first. Trinity Scott with the hat trick.
Yeah.
A lot of, but there was really good goalkeeping. I want to talk a little bit about Sammy Cood as well today, because we always focus on the goal scorers.
Right.
We don't always focus on the goal stopper, so to speak. So talk a little bit about the game Wednesday night.
Yeah, I think that UTPB is a team that you're always, when you play against them, you think, well, it's a team that we should be able to get a result on based on stats in the paper and stuff. But it's always a team that loves to play spoiler, and for them, no matter how their season goes, if they could knock off the #1 team, it makes their season. And so I thought that our defense, Sammy included, did a great job. I mean, I don't remember how many shots they had in the first half, but it wasn't many, like a couple, something like that.
Yeah, I think at most.
Yeah, I think that, I've talked about this before, that, one of the ways for us to improve and be ready to perform and get something in the postseason is our defense needs to be stronger. We can't just keep leaking goals and giving up silly ones. And so I think that game certainly was an opportunity to get a shutout, to earn a shutout. And I threw in a little bribe too at halftime, telling them, hey, if you guys can get a shutout, we won't practice on it tomorrow. So we had some extra leeway because we had the gap between UTPB and Midwestern. So I threw that out. And yeah, evidently bribes work well with the girls.
Motivation, time off always works well.
Yeah.
So then we transitioned to Sunday, big showdown with Midwestern State. You come out, they give up a goal in the 22nd minute.
Yeah.
Perhaps it was me because I was at church and I showed up about 2 minutes before they scored that goal, and I thought, oh great, here we go. Yeah. But they rebounded nicely, scored 2 before halftime.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the mindset, of the never quit attitude of the Bell.
Our girls have had a really good mindset. When we give up a goal, our team doesn't say, oh, now it's going to be such an uphill battle. Now we've got to score 2 to win. They know that they can score. I think that we're one of the best offensive teams in the conference, in the region. And so I know that they believe that they can score goals. And when we give up that goal, they thought, okay, well, it's got to come now. We've got to make sure that we're making those runs. And we had a great counterattack goal against them. Trinity gets the ball, draws 3 players to her. We're yelling at Cassie, get wide, get wide, get wide. And she pulls away from the pack that Trinity had attracted and got a great goal.
All right. I was going to mention that too, because Trinity on Wednesday had the hat trick. Then on Sunday she transitioned almost to more of a support, a feeder as it were, and the other girls really stepped up well against the Midwestern defense.
Yeah, I've talked to Trinity about this before. When we have teams that are going to double team, even triple team sometimes, her role then needs to be, can you find that pass that gets us a goal? And that is just as important as in the moments where she can score, just as important this way. When she draws 2 players, 3 players, she's got to find the best pass and play a nice pass to them so it's an easy finish. And her goal, or her pass to Cassie, was picture perfect of drawing extra players and laying off a perfectly weighted and angled pass. Cassie had a one-touch play. It's simple, easy, and that's just as important as scoring.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about motivation here for a moment. And you may not want to answer this, and if you don't want to, that's fine. We'll move along. But so Midwestern comes in here ranked number 11 nationally.
Yeah.
We're the number 1 ranked team in the conference, our number 1 team in the conference. We're number 1 in the region, and yet we aren't ranked nationally. How much of a motivation is that for you personally as a coach and for the team as a whole to come in and say, okay, let's show these guys?
For me personally, not as much, because with that ranking, nothing comes with it. We don't get an advantage of hosting the tournament. We don't get an advantage in anything, really. And so what that comes down to is the person that's on that committee, they're kind of estimating, this is where we see the teams, and when we've played this team, we felt like, well, we were better than this team, or, we were 1 goal less than this team. So it's just an opinion. When you get into NCAA rankings, then it's more based on strength of schedule, common opponents, wins, losses in
stuff
the
that
region,
matters.
Stuff that matters.
Right.
And so I think for the players, didn't want to hear that. I think the players wanted to say, listen, we're the number 1 team in the conference. We just got the number 1 ranking in the region. why is this other team ranked 11 nationally and we're not even in the top 25? We didn't even get votes to be considered for the top 25. Nothing.
Right.
So hopefully, listen, it goes to what we've said, which is hunger and humility. And if they're hungry, I think we can achieve some good things. And the other part is the humility. Who cares about that poll? I mean, even if we were ranked third or fourth, does that mean that we would work harder or work less if we're third or fourth in the regional poll, the one that matters? Mm-hmm. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's about in the game trying to, let's let the scoreboard talk for us.
Right, and they did that. I mean, whether it was the motivation or not, they come out and they showed it where it matters on the field.
Yeah.
So I was very, very impressed with that. And even when you went up 3-1, and then Midwestern worked that second goal in, they didn't quit. They were able to melt the clock until the horn went off.
And it's everybody doing their job.
Right.
Allie Warren had scored 0 goals before yesterday.
Good point.
Now we're playing against the number 2 team in the region, number 2 team in the conference. She comes in, she only plays probably 20-some minutes yesterday. And in 2.5 minutes of work in the first half, some players would go into that and think, well, I'm not going to get to do anything. Because Allie didn't have that mentality, she changes the game. Puts us up now 2-1 going into halftime. A huge lift, a huge belief by the rest of the team. And that's a player that's hasn't been playing exceptionally well this year, but got in, made something of those minutes. Everything she could, she poured into that. She gets a result that helps the team.
Right.
And that's the selflessness that we need from the team all the time.
Right, and that's something that I've watched. Obviously, I've seen just about every home game this year, but that's something I've seen is the team concept. It's not a me-first attitude. It's everybody works together, which, as you well know, in team sports like this, you have to have that. So going forward, you got 2 more games to close out the season, big home games. We talked about this earlier in the year, closing out the 4 straight at home. So how big is that to finish, to have the season so far and to be able to finish your last 2 important games at home?
Well, I think it gives us a great chance to have a home crowd, and I do think too. I want to challenge the people out there watching that they need to come out. You need to get involved in the game. Be loud and be proud for ASU Rams, because in the game yesterday, my personal opinion, I thought the first 20 minutes the crowd was like waking up from a nap. They were pretty quiet. So I'd like to see them come out and be loud and boisterous, and because they can basically give some energy to the girls. Right. So yeah, we want to make sure that that's an advantage for us. Being at home, playing on our field, we know how the grass kind of, how the ball rolls, so to speak, and so it should be a good advantage for us.
You heard the challenge from Coach McCorkle, 90 minutes up and down the pitch. Y'all need to come out and help give the Bells a lift this weekend. Coming up Friday and Sunday, you can go to angelosports.com, see the times, see the opponents, see the stats, anything you want to know. Come on out. Coach, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Mean that from the bottom of my heart. We'll be out there as well, and hope to see 2 more victories and clinch this whole conference thing.
That's right. That's what we want to do.
Come on out this weekend. Friday, 7 p.m., Sunday, 1 p.m., Bell Soccer Field. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Coach's Corner. We'll see you next time. I'm Russ Howard, Ram TV Sports. Take care.